a very esteemed presenter. He is with eXp Realty. He has a massive team under him, although he does operate as a single agent as well. So he's going to be giving us a lot of tips. But before we get started, we do have some amazing sponsors. We have Emily with Curbio. Emily, tell us about Curbio and tell us about what you do to enhance realtors' services and lives.
Yes, and thank you, Kevin. We are so excited to be a preferred partner of the Miami Association of Realtors. So we are a turnkey concierge solution. So we can come in, do any pre-sale updates that your sellers may need done. We defer all payment until closing with no interest, credit checks, or hidden fees, but we also take care of full project management on top of that. So we'll schedule all the trades, we'll coordinate the project, we'll pull any permitting we need to do so that you have more time to service your clients. If you guys have any spring listings coming up, all of our estimates are absolutely free, no obligation, and you can get a general quote from us in as little as 24 hours. So if every listing needs a little love, got some spring listings coming up, think about Curbio as your partner.
And the hidden fees, not having those is great. I'm going through a real estate transaction, and there was a lot that I didn't recognize I would be paying. So that sort of thing is greatly appreciated. And Emily has put her contact information and a bunch of links in the chat. So feel free to click on them and check them out. The next sponsor we have is through Florida Title Insurance Company with Randy Gilbert. Randy, I know you were elected back in 2020, the best website for a title insurance company. Tell us more about your product, the experience you provide, and what people need to know about FTIC.
Absolutely. So thank you, everybody. So my name is Randy Gilbert. And for those of you that have met me, you've been given a card, and it actually is my title. I actually am the Chief Happiness Officer for Florida's Title Insurance Company. I used to be the president. I used to be the CEO. And I said, you know what, why not make something more apropos and more like to that which I do? And the fact is that we work with people at the most important times of their lives, and so do you. And the question is how are we going to make a deposit in their emotional bank account? And the fact is that we're going to have to, both of us, we both work like this. We both hug them with our words and by our actions. And so some of the things that we do for real estate agents are really exclusive for you guys. We really do things that are extremely specific and customized for just your clients. So for instance, I'm going to show you, I'm on the board of directors for a museum. So everything we do is very artsy here and very customized. We have an 88-point checklist that we go through and we create timelines for you all. And this is something that is not just like, hey, this is when your closing date is, and this is when your effective date and your deposit date. It goes way farther. I also go through and make sure that there aren't any documents that are missing, that there aren't any things that conflict. And so we have a whole entire observation section. Every one of your deals is going to have 2 people on every single transaction, and I am one of them. I do the intake, and I make sure that basically we've got a deal and that somebody isn't going to be walking out of it. We are attorney owned. I used to litigate. For about 18 and a half years. I no longer do that. That's my brother. He handles that. Like I said, I'm the Chief Happiness Officer, so I'm the relationship guy. And that means I want to make you happy and keep you happy. And one of those ways is to make sure that we actually have a deal that we're all going through. So another thing that we do that's great, like Kevin mentioned, hey, I got hit with a bunch of fees. Well, I just recently wrote an article that went up to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And this is a very detailed list and analysis on what it is that title companies charge and what it is that they can charge and what it is that they cannot charge. In fact, I just submitted it to Letty. I think I'm going to be teaching a course on this because it's one of my absolute pain points when I see title companies tell you that, hey, my fee is only going to be $450, when in fact, there's a bunch of line items. We have become the Spirit Airlines of title insurance, and it is absolutely terrible. So we have a no junk fee guarantee. It is only one fee that we charge, the settlement fee plus the insurance. The insurance policy is the amount that's set by the state of Florida. I don't care where you go, that's everybody's price. Where title companies play games is with this settlement fee. And so we're going to be doing a deep dive and analysis into that. And I'm going to be sending out, if you haven't already received that article, you're going to be able to look at that as well. So with that, hopefully we get to do some business with you and really make you guys shine as realtors. Until then, you guys have a fantastic class, and I'll give you my information.
Thank you so much, Randy. And before we toss it over to Ricky, I actually have a very important guest that I'd like to bring on. Her name is Alexa Caballo Hughes. I worked with her a little bit when Ricky was having a conference down here, the Zero to Diamond conference, I believe it was. And Alexa is a Ukrainian realtor. Her family is still over in Ukraine, and she wanted to talk to you about ways that you can help. Alexa, are you here?
I'm here. The voice of Alexa has responded. No, Kevin, thank you so much for having me. And I joke because every time someone says my name, like their Alexa device goes off. So here I am. Thank you so much for having me, Kevin. Seriously, it means so much, not only for your help with our Zero to Diamond tour in Miami last year, it was almost like a year ago now, but also for connecting at the President's Circle event, a few weeks ago in Bahamas. So just really appreciate you connect with me, allowing me to come here today. And yes, I am an American with Ukrainian roots. I have, my grandfather was one of 11, so he was the only one that made it to America. And he has 10 siblings over there with all of his children. So I have over 100 relatives, and it has been unbelievable, obviously, what's happening. A lot of them are staying and fighting, and my heart is just broken, but they're doing everything they can. They're giving it everything they have. And so what I'm doing for my part, and which I love so much about our realtor community, is that we all come together, we all try to help one another. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm actually gathering a bunch of military gear, tactical gear, sending it over to them. We also brought together a bunch of humanitarian aid that we're sending over, but we're in the process of raising $100,000 to do so, to be able to ship these items. So if you guys have any opportunity to be able to donate and to help support, I will make sure that every dollar, every penny gets where it needs to go and where it can make the most impact. So I really, really appreciate that. So what I'll do is I'll drop the link here for anyone that wants to support. And then let's definitely connect. I'm happy to put my info in here if you guys have any opportunities for me to come speak anywhere else and kind of just share how we can all help and support. That would mean a lot. And then also, I guess I'll introduce Ricky, but before I do so, just so you guys know, I'm actually on the YPN advisory board for NAR. And what I will say is that you guys have a killer YPN. Kevin, your whole crew, you guys are just awesome. I remember a few years ago at the, I think it was NAR's event in New Orleans. You guys were like Network of the Year. Is that the year you guys got that?
It was Chicago and San Diego.
Oh my gosh, you guys literally crush it. So just keep it up. But just know I'm here to support you guys as well from the NAR YPN perspective. So speaking of people that crush it, so it happens to be that I'm meeting my friend and business partner here, Ricky Carruth, who's going to be speaking to you guys here today about how to make 2022 your best year yet. And let me tell you guys, being able to work with someone that's so incredible like Ricky, I'm sure many of you know his story, but by the time he was 23, he was a millionaire and he lost it all when the market crashed. And, he thought to himself, you know what, like, where did I go wrong? How do you go from being so successful to living on a couch, working in an oil rig, trying to figure out, like, where did I go wrong? So he took a year off. He read 100 books. He realized, oh my gosh, everything I've learned has been wrong. All these coaches, everything that I've been taught. And he's like, you know what? It's relationships over transactions. So what he did, he re-entered the marketplace and he's been selling 100 houses a year since 2014. And his goal is to reduce the failure rate in real estate and to just pay it forward so no agents have to go through what he went through. So with that, I'll give you guys Ricky. That's your cue, Ricky.
Good morning. How we doing, guys? Good to see everybody. And thanks for having me. Go ahead and put in the chat if you guys have actually seen me before or not. If you guys have seen me online or in person, if you guys have been to one of our events or something of that nature, just so I can kind of gauge who all here actually already knows my story and kind of a little bit about my philosophies and different things like that. I'll tell you that Alexa's right. It's been kind of a long road. So she did a good job of illustrating the story. I'm not going to go there, but I will say that what I learned through the process and kind of becoming the world's first completely free coach 5 years ago was that I just have a really completely different outlook, I guess you should say, on the industry itself and how agents should actually build their business, what they should be focusing on, so on and so forth. I really have yet to find another coach, trainer, broker who preaches the same kind of stuff that I teach and preach. So I'm hoping that, especially if you guys haven't heard me before, that you kind of realize that I'm going to kind of give you maybe a 180 of what you're normally trained on and coached on, and what a lot of people are going to tell you about the industry, even people that have been in the business for 30, 40 years, all the way up to, your new aged, online gurus and coaches and stuff of that nature. And so that's kind of what I want to set the stage for, is that I want to kind of give you a little something different today, give you a different perspective on your business, and maybe help you visualize what you could put in place in terms of a routine to get you to these really incredible places in your business over the next 5 years, because that's really what we want to focus on. If you guys will literally sit down and focus more on, okay, are the activities and actions that I'm taking today, are they really affecting my bottom line for my 5 year from now business? Right? Because if we start focusing on that, our today business is going to absolutely explode. It's kind of like the old thing whenever you lost your keys. You lose your keys, you're looking everywhere, where my keys go, and you're like, all right, I'll just find them later. And then boom, they're right in front of you. That's how a lot of agents are with deals. They're just like, I want to do a deal. I want to do a deal. I want to do a deal. And as soon as they quit focusing on how to do a deal, or trying to do a deal, or trying to figure out how to convert someone, or handle objections, or, get the best leads, or whatever the case may be, and just focus on just building the business, building the database, helping people, taking the actions necessary, all of a sudden they start closing tons of deals today. It's really the same scenario, and I've seen it so many times. So with Zero to Diamond, it's the first completely free coaching program out there. We've had 50,000 agents go through the program since we started. And we did a survey in January, a couple months ago, just to find out what kind of impact we've really made on the industry. 50,000 is a pretty big number for, I would say, any coaching program. So, okay, what's been the results here? How are we actually influencing the industry in a positive way? And what we found was 7 out of 10 agents that went through the program say they get more deals and get more listings and close more deals. Okay. 86% say they have better time management. Okay. Which tells me that they're organizing their day better, and they're able to spend more time with the family. They're able to have better work-life balance, right? 75% say they read more. Okay. That tells me that people are out there developing themselves into that next best version of who they are, so they go out there and handle more business, right? That's the problem right there. A lot of you, if I handed you 5 times more business today, you wouldn't know what to do with it. You all want 5 times more business, I'm sure, but if I actually gave it to you right now and 5x your business, your active listings, your pending deals, closings, leads, your database, you wouldn't know what to do with it. Right? Because you have to develop, the business is there. It's 100,000,000% unlimited. It's just a matter of developing yourself into the person who has the capacity to handle more. It's really all it comes down to. We're just holding ourselves back. We found that 98.8% of the agents that went through the program say they enjoy being a real estate agent more. And that was the thing that really made my head explode, was to hear that single statistic right there. And that was really the determining factor for me to say that we're really making a difference in the industry with this. And we're really just kind of trying to take the pressure off. Okay. So I'm just telling you all this before I get to the limitless listings thing, so I can set the stage for you mindset wise, because that's really going to be the thing that gets you to the place where you realize that you can go out and get as many listings as you want to get. So being able to handle more means you have to go out there and develop yourself in the next better version. For example, like if a lot of new agents, they'll reach out to me and just kind of frustrated. They haven't got to their first deal. They're 4 months into the business. Okay, it took me 8 months to get to my first deal, but the problem is not necessarily the market or what they're doing or what the strategies are. It's the fact that they haven't developed themselves into the person that realizes you got to be patient, right? That's just one little example of many where we're basically holding ourselves back through the frustration of not doing the deal, we're even holding ourselves back even more. Now we're backpedaling into not being as confident as we were when we first got into the business, when we thought this was going to be easy. And then it's just kind of a downward spiral, right? Because we're not reading, we're not really looking at the big picture. We're not thinking about 5 years out. We're just thinking about now. And it's not happening like you thought, and you're working harder than you thought you would. It wasn't what you thought it was going to be. And now you're kind of, you have some doubts about what you're actually doing here. So let's just take it back 1 second, kind of how I reverse engineer myself into this. When I lost everything in the crash and I read those 100 books and I got back in the business in 2008, what I realized, man, was 2 really incredible things. I realized that my clients that were buying and selling with me back in 2003, 4, and 5, before I got out of the business, they were still buying in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They bought property and sold property all through all those bad years. And it made me realize, wait a minute, and after I saw so many clients who did the same thing, and they were being represented by other real estate agents who were still in the business, I thought, wait a minute, if I would have maintained relationships with these people, then I would have been able to continue to represent them even in that down market when they sold bad assets and bought better assets at the bottom. But I wasn't in that mentality in the beginning of my career. So I want you guys to understand that first and foremost, that in the beginning of my career, I was more focused on the deals, because that's really what the market was. I could make 10 phone calls, find somebody that wanted to make 200,000 more than what they bought it for a year ago, which is kind of similar to today's market, right? I mean, a lot of these people who their property is worth 800,000-900,000 right now was probably worth about 600-700 2 years ago. It's really similar right now. And I'll talk about that as well, as far as the current state of the market and what you guys should be probably thinking about as this year unfolds. But I realized that if I would have maintained relationships, boom, I could have actually had business. And that made me realize, wait a minute, I need to just forget deals and just go out there and create as many relationships and make as many friends with people in my market as humanly possible. And if I do that and create a big enough database, I'll never have to worry about deals, because even in down markets, these people are still going to be buying and selling. So a lot of people who didn't go through that 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 period when the market did crash and prices went down 50%, you kind of don't realize what could possibly be happening now. And you're not really preparing, and you're maybe thinking this market's going to last forever, or there's no way it's going to go down, or whatever the case may be. It sure can. It can absolutely go down. It can get absolutely crushed. And as fast as it went up, that's how fast it can go down. So just think realistically, right? But understand one thing, your business is not correlated to the market. So many agents think when the market's up and the market's going great, then their business is up and doing great. If the market's down, their business is down. But that's just so far from reality, right? The only reason it becomes a reality for those agents is because that's what they think. And so they put themselves in this mindset that when the market's down, then, there's no deals. And so they don't chase deals, and they just do less deals. And, a lot of them get out of the business during those times. But if they really understood the way the market cycles work and what's happening behind the scenes, listen, guys, closings have happened every day of your life, right? Even through 9/11, the dot-com crash, 2008, the pandemic. The pandemic was probably, I would say, out of those scenarios, 9/11 was pretty scary, but the pandemic, 9/11 hit, that hit New York, and, we didn't know if more terrorist attacks were going to happen, but the pandemic was a little more scary than that, I would say, because that's something that could hit us in our house today, possibly. We didn't know. And our loved ones are dying, that was something, right? And I would say that was one of the scariest times that we've had. Entire economic shutdown. Guess what? 80% of the same amount of closings were happening during that 45-day shutdown when there was no human contact, which means that Mother Nature, the AKA the real estate market, is so resilient. It's not going to figure out a way to make deals happen, right? So a lot of people say, well, that was deals that were already pending. Okay. Well, a more interesting fact is that 80% of the same amount of pending deals happened during that 45-day period, the same as that last 45-day period the year prior, which is just incredible to sit down and think about this. I want you to really let that sink in and realize that no matter how bad the market gets, there's still so much business right there happening. Okay. So just please stop thinking about the market being correlated to your business and start focusing on how can I build my database? How can I grow my influence in my local market, right? What systems can I put in place to really scale? What works really well for me? Because what works really good for me might not work for you. And you got to find what works really well for you, right? Once we find those things that work really well for you, then we got to develop systems around those activities and then scale to the moon. This stuff's really, really simple, guys, when you break it all down. And so that's kind of the preface right there that I just want you guys to understand before we get into all the listing stuff. And I'm going to leave the last like 20 minutes for open Q&A with you guys, just so I can maybe spend a little one-on-one time with some of you guys that may want to say something or have any questions. But I think the moral of the story here before we move on is that the market doesn't matter. And the fact that we're walking into this incredibly low inventory market, interest rates are rock bottom, fixing to start coming up. We've got record prices. Inflation is through the roof. It's really set up. We've got more real estate agents than ever in history in the US right now. Okay. And if you look through history, there were 4 times in history since the Great Depression. During the Great Depression, we lost about 60% of our agents. There were 24,000 agents at the time of the Great Depression, and it went down to 13,000. So we lost 11,000 of the 24,000 agents during that time. There were 3 other instances where we lost 10, 15% or so of our agents in the country. Right. And the last one was 2006. We hit a peak of 1.35. We went down to 1 million agents by 2012. Okay. While the market was going down, we were losing agents. Right now, we're at the highest point of agents in the country with highest prices. I mean, this thing is just set up to crumble. And what I want you guys to really get out of this today is that I don't want you to be one of the agents. If you're on the fence, like if you got your license during the pandemic and you haven't really sold that much and you're wondering if this is for you or not for you. I mean, if you're not in it, you don't love it, you don't think you have what it takes, you just want to go do something else, it's too hard, whatever, then that's fine. But if this is your dream to be a real estate agent and this is what you love and you want to make this work and it's not quite working for you yet, I just want to say, don't quit when the market shifts, because that's going to be the best moment to be in real estate. All right. Because what's going to happen is inventory is going to come up. Inventory is going to come up and prices are going to come down. And just think about how easy the market's going to be at that point. It's going to be easy to get listings, right? When you have a buyer, it's going to be easy because there's not multiple offers. They're going to be able to take their pick and prices are going to be lower. So it's going to look more attractive to our clients. Right. It's going to be a completely different ball game, and it's going to be just an incredible time to be an agent. And guess what? Hundreds of thousands, right? Hundreds of thousands of agents are going to leave the business during that time, because as the market shifts, they're thinking, well, I couldn't make it when it was up, so I'm not going to be able to make it when it's down. And it's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, because renewals are going to come up and they're going to have to renew their license, and they're gonna have to do CEs, and now their market's going down and they're just going to be like, I don't understand the market, so let me get out of here. So just understand that shift is coming. I don't know if it's coming this year. I think it is coming this year. I'm predicting this is going to happen this year, but it could be next year. Nobody knows. Really. I mean, if it happens next year and prices continue to go up, I don't see how that could happen. Prices are completely ridiculous, but I think interest rates are going to be the big thing. That really kind of puts the nail in the coffin for this thing, and things start going the other way. But just understand that's going to be the best time to be an agent. Right now is the toughest time. Multiple offers on everything. Your buyer can't get nothing. Nobody wants to list their properties. Right now is the toughest time. And if you're still hanging in there right now and you're doing well right now, you can make it in any market. All right. So that's just a few little things that get us started here. Let's see. Let me look in the comments here. How many of you guys would like to go out there and get 5 times more listings? Or even if you have no listings, let's go out and get our first 5 or 10 listings. because that's really kind of what we're here for today. And that's really what it's all about. At the end of the day, since 2014, I've been closing 100 deals as a single agent. Last year was year number 8 for it. And I would say some year, like in 2017, I remember it was a 50-50 for listings versus buyers. But traditionally, I'm at about an 80-20, 80% listings. There's no way in the world you can go out there and sell 100 properties a year without leveraging listings and MLS, right? And just a quick note, you guys really, we're so spoiled here in the US that we have MLS and we're able to actually get exclusive listings, get a listing, take pictures, put remarks, put it on MLS, and literally go to sleep or go spend time getting more listings, and boom, another agent's going to sell it. You're going to make money, right? In other countries, they don't have that luxury. South Africa, Brazil, India, they don't have MLS. Those sellers pick 8 agents to list the property on an open listing mandate, and that whoever finds the buyer wins. So in those countries, you'd have to go out and find the buyer for your listings, and that's the only way you get paid. All right, we have it so made over here with the advancements in technology and everything else. So understand how massive of an opportunity that listings are just in general, that we get the listing and then we have the thousands of agents in our market there working for us to go out there and try to find that buyer. It's just simply incredible. It's the greatest multiplier of time for real estate agents in the history of the industry, right? There's nothing really that leverages you more until you get out there and start leveraging people, building your team, admins, stuff like that. But in terms of like a single activity that you can do as a single agent, or I mean, even as a group of people, is to get more listings. Now, my business has always been focused on how do I go out there and create more relationships with property owners so that I can secure those listings. Hold on one second, guys. Give me just a second. Let me grab my dogs real quick. Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. My dog's barking at the pool guy. Okay, where was I?
Let's talk about how some special ways that you potentially leverage your listings to get more listings on top of that.
Oh, 100%. All right, so let's talk about that, and then we'll backtrack into getting more listings. So we have a checklist when we get listings. Okay, the first thing is, get the listing agreement. Once they say they want to sell, we'll listing agreement, pictures, MLS. Okay, the next thing we want to do, we do postcards, just listed, just sold, just listed, just pending, just sold. Okay, to the subdivisions. Okay, during the process that we are in the deal where we have it listed or we have it pending at some point in there, let's say that we get the listing and it goes under contract within a couple of weeks and takes 30 days to close. That's a 45-day period. All right, within that 45 days, we're going to call the subdivision. So we're immediately sending a just listed postcard out to the subdivision. Okay, maybe we're busy, we don't quite get to it right until we get the pending. Ideally, what we want to do is send the postcard, make the calls. Let's say it's 150 houses or condos. We're going to go through those calls. We normally have a 10% pickup rate. So we're going to talk to 15 of those 150 clients. That's going to take us about 2 hours with a dialer. Okay. Out of those 15, we're going to have a good 7, 8 great conversations. So now we've narrowed this 150 unit subdivision down to 7 or 8 future clients. Okay. Now what happens is when we go pending, right now we're going to call just those 7 people back, right? We're not going to go back through the whole subdivision. We're just going to call those 7 people back and kind of touch base based on our conversation that we first had with them. We're always going to collect their data, put them in our database so that they're getting our weekly email. All right. And then we'll do a just closed postcard. Also, another thing we do is an email out to all the local agents as soon as we get the listing, advertising that listing. But that's our process. Okay. We like to hit them with 3 postcards. just listed, just pending, just sold. We want to call the entire subdivision or neighborhood or complex. And then we want to take the ones that we had a great conversation with and maybe touch them one more time via phone before the deal is totally done. And normally we'll maybe 1 out of 3 listings will actually pick up another listing out of those efforts today. But then we'll pick up another 20, 30 future clients who go into our database that'll call us when they get ready to do something. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where the money's at. Okay. So with your systems, you got to have 3 systems in place, okay, to have a super successful business running on all cylinders, okay? The first system you need to have in place is your lead generation system, okay? Your second system is your follow-up system, and your third system is your marketing and branding, okay? So let's kind of dissect the 3 really quickly. Your lead gen, what you need to do is sit down and write down every single possible lead gen activity that is available, right? Just sit down and brainstorm and take 15, 20 minutes to write down every single one of them that you can possibly think of. Okay. Most people can't come up with more than about 20, something like that. There's not a whole lot of them. Okay. 20, 25, something like that. You can think of different variations of some of them, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, we want to take that list, right? And we want to start narrowing this down to what are the top 2 that work best for you. For me, coming up, because I didn't have all the technology that we have nowadays, I just did circle prospecting where I reverse looked up the numbers of just random subdivisions and I would call them, right? That was the only thing I built my entire business on. And so I would call them just to make friends, not necessarily to sell them, right? If they want to buy or sell, great. Let's do a deal. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to get in with them and let them know I'm here to help them when they get ready to do something. And I love to stay in touch. I want to get their email. I want to put them on my email marketing machine, right? So my lead gen of choice was circle prospecting. If I had it to do over today, I'd do circle prospecting and expires, because with RedX and some of these other ones, you can go back 10 years worth of expireds, cancels, and withdrawals, 10 years worth that are just sitting there in a folder that you can just chip away at and say, hey, I saw your house was for sale 7 years ago. Whatever happened with that? And boom, they tell me a story and we get in this great conversation. I start to relate with them on a few things. And all of a sudden I got a new friend. They're telling me what they want to do in today's world. It's just absolutely like it's low hanging fruit is what it is. Right. And understand the goal here is to create the relationship, to really get to know them. And because again, opposite of what coaches will do, they want you to get in there, find motivation, close the deal, handle objections, make them sign a contract today. Not me. I actually want to listen to what they're trying to do. The reason why, guys, I've sold so much property is because I do the deal on my clients' terms and their timeline. If they're telling me they want to wait 6 months, I'm like, great, right? Tell me more about that. Why are you wanting to wait 6 months? And I want to understand their philosophy behind that. The biggest question in real estate that you can ask your prospects is why. What's got you thinking about selling? Why are you guys buying? As soon as you realize they're thinking about doing something, you need to throw in why they're buying or selling, because that question right there is what most agents won't ask. Number one, because they're just trying to go after the deal. But number two, it gives you several things. One, it tells you exactly what's going on in their life that's made them decide to buy or sell. And therefore you can actually help them more, because now you're trying to help them accomplish that goal, not just buying or selling, but the real reason why they're buying or selling. The second thing it does is it shows them that you actually care about them and what they have going on, right? And it just makes you stand out so much. It helps you get the job done better. A lot of these agents, especially newer agents, they'll come to me and say, this guy wants to sell in 6 months. How do I follow up? I'm like, well, why do they want to sell? They're like, well, we don't know. Well, you got to know that before you know how you're going to follow up or what's going on. Right. So that's a step a lot of you are probably skipping that I want you to really make like the number one priority, is asking people why. Once you run into a motivated buyer or seller or unmotivated buyer or seller. Okay. A couple of key points to realize is that you can't talk to every single property owner in your market ever in your life. Never happened, ever. And so everything is predicated on how many real life conversations you're going to have. So if you get your leads through Google, Amazon, not Amazon, Zillow, Facebook, realtor.com, Opcity, wherever, even if it's these online platforms, there still has to be a conversation before anything's going to happen. Okay. So understand the common denominator of all listings is a real live conversation. You're never going to get a listing without talking to them. Okay. So if you understand that one key fact right there, okay, now let's reverse engineer ourselves into as many listings as possible. You got to have as many conversations as you can possibly have. It's real simple stuff. So the only thing between you guys, all right, between your individual businesses making you where you are now and making $1 million a year, okay, the only thing between you and that $1 million a year business, there are thousands of one-on-one conversations with people in your market. Okay, so when I hear that and I realize conversation is the key to all listings, and if I want to have as many listings as I can possibly have and reach my full potential in that area, I got to have as many conversations as I can possibly have. Then I'm like, give me all the phone numbers of every single person in my market and let me get to work. And I think what most agents do is they try to tiptoe around that part and they do other things. And they still end up in the same place, but it just takes a decade longer. Because if you understood that we have to get through thousands of one-on-one conversations to get where we want to go, and it's going to take you years to get there, even if that's all you did all day, every day, but you're sitting here playing around with in other areas thinking that's going to get you there quicker, or we're going to be able to scale here, scale there, when really all those activities come right back to just having one-on-one conversations. Like when you do Zillow leads, when you get the lead, the first thing you got to do is call them, right? Any lead you get, Facebook, you go do an open house, you run this massive ad and you get like 3,000 leads, right? If you don't go through and call every single lead and get to know them and find out what they got going on and what they want to do and why they want to do it, you're really not maximizing anything there. You'll get some business out of it, but think about how much more business you would have, right? And all you're doing is prolonging the inevitable. So what I want you guys to do is think about what I just said. And instead of it taking you 15 years to get there, let's do it in 3, 4, 5 years. Let's just knock out these thousands of one-on-one conversations we need to have with people in our market now, today. Right? So that's really the bottom line of this entire thing, is that we want to focus on them, not us, not what we're going to get out of it, but what they're trying to do. And we're in the service industry, whereas we need to think of ourselves as like a volunteer worker, right? Think of yourself as like a volunteer worker, just trying to do community outreach to see what it is you can do to use your services as an agent to help the community. People are buying and selling every single day, all day long. And they're using real estate agents because they need us. They need us to help them through the process, negotiate all the different intricate details of the deal. It's real similar. People use this analogy all the time. It's real similar to, you're not going to roof your own house, right? It's not hard labor, but it's the same mentality. You don't know how to get up there and lay the shingle and do all the stuff. Same thing here. The average person does not understand how that process works, what the steps are, what to look out for, how to protect themselves, how to get the most money. There's just more to it than just finding a buyer. They do not need us to find them a buyer nowadays. They can easily make one social media post and find a buyer for their house, especially in today's market. That's not what we're really there for right now. As the market changes and there's more listings than buyers, and sellers are fighting over the few buyers we have, and they're willing to pay us whatever commissions to do it, and the market flips over, yeah, they're going to need us to go out there and find a buyer. Things are going to change. But the fact of the matter is that even in today's market where buyers are so easy to be found, they still need us to help them through the process and make sure that that they're not screwing up somewhere, because one little screw up for them could cost them thousands and thousands of dollars. All right. So they like that peace of mind. Cool. So let's just kind of recap, and then we'll do some Q&A. You guys got to just understand a few things. Closings are going to happen every day forever. So relax. It doesn't matter what the market does. You're going to go out there and crush it no matter what. As long as you're doing what you need to do to go out there. And here's the magic number: 5 new friends a day with property owners in your market every day. 5 new friends or property owners in your market every day. So whatever your lead gen of choice is, it needs to be a system that's producing enough one-on-one conversations on a daily basis to produce 5 new friends a day. So if it takes you 10 conversations to find 5 who you really connected with and said it's okay to stay in touch, then you need a system that creates 10 conversations every day. Because if you do 5 a day, okay, that's 25 in a week, 100 in a month, 1,200 in a year, 24, 36, 48, 6,000 in 5 years. If you did 5 new friends a day for 5 years, that's 6,000 property owners. And if you got a marketing branding system like I do, where I send my entire database a weekly email every Wednesday, think about how big your business is when you've actually talked to 6,000 property owners, made friends, they said it's okay to stay in touch, and now they get this weekly email from you that you created that gives them your opinions on stuff, really great market stats, events, new restaurants, things of that nature. Think about how big your business is at that point. You're going to be the largest agent in your area at that point. And everybody's going to say, how'd you do it? And you're going to say, I just made 5 new friends a day and did a weekly email. I put my systems in place. I focused on these 2 lead gen sources. Here's how I followed up with people who said they might be doing something soon. And here's my marketing branding system, a weekly email. And I sprinkled some social media in there and did a little direct mail. Boom. You guys are all making millions at that point. It's not that hard. All right. The ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s of real estate, so super simple, right? But implementing them and putting in the work and going through the frustrations and getting to the momentum and then keeping the momentum and then hiring an assistant and kind of progressing through the steps of your career, that's really tough stuff. And that's why we've got a really high failure rate in the industry. And that's why I'm doing what I do, is to try to spread this different message so that you guys can take a deep breath and realize that you got this. Cool. Anybody have any questions?
Can you repeat that last part that you said about the last 10, 15 seconds?
I said, you got this.
No, before that, like about 2, 3 sentences before that.
I honestly, man, I don't,
you said about scaling, something about failing with assistance or something like that.
oh, I got you. I got you. Like the stages of your career, you know, I mean, a new agent comes in and they're super excited about their new career. Sky's the limit. They're just on top of the world. They come in and after everybody goes through the same stuff, super excited. Then once they get in for a couple of weeks or a month or 2, they realize, wait a minute, this is a mountain of knowledge I'm not going to learn in a day. So they start to become a little frustrated. And then once they don't sell anything for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, they become disappointed. Right. And then the winners at that point look around and say, okay, this is harder than I thought it was going to be, but all these other people are succeeding. So then they have this new sense of excitement, but this level of excitement isn't as big as the first level, right? Because they know that there's some disappointment that could possibly happen, but then they go through the same disappointment and frustration, but that's not as low as the first low. Right. And so what happens is you come in real excited, right? And then it kind of starts to level out a little bit as your years go on and you start to understand the game. And a lot of people can't stomach that first big low. And that's when they kind of start giving up on themselves. Their lack of confidence goes down, so on and so forth. If you make it through that, you know, and you start closing deals and everything's starting to go good, you're going to start to realize, well, I can't really scale because I'm doing a lot of admin stuff. I need an admin. You need an assistant, right? So you come in and you get an assistant. And I was at that stage for 20 years, just me and one assistant. Right. And just here recently, I started building out an actual team where I'm bringing on people and leveraging ISAs and buyer's agents and different things like that. It took me 20 years to get to that place. I just enjoyed selling. You know, I just enjoyed being an agent, and I was still real young. I just turned 40 and I've just loved doing it. I mean, grew up roofing houses, so I don't care about, a lot of people try to get in there and build their teams, you know, the first year, second year and stuff like that. And that's fine. A lot of people do succeed. Everybody has a different path. You know what I mean? And that's why there's not like a cookie cutter answer to your question of what that exact path is. You know, everybody's different, you know, so I could sit down with you and we could talk about your business and I could kind of, you know, help map that out for you. But, you know, outside of that, I can just say that, you know, every time you plateau out, let's figure out how we can leverage ourselves to go higher, you know. And I maybe made that mistake because when I hit 100 deals, I did 100 deals a year for 8 years. Okay. You know, I kind of beat that dead horse. I probably should have started leveraging years ago, But the cool thing was average prices have went up so much over that 8 years that each year those 100 deals actually produced more money. So, and I was comfortable selling 100 properties a year. Look, everybody says 100 properties. It's only 2 a week. And me and my assistant has it down like we can do it in our sleep, 100 deals. She's been with me for 8 years. So
I'd appreciate a sit down and a one-on-one time with you very much.
just DM me on Instagram.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So basically, in order to get more listings, because I'm a new agent, I'm going on year 2 now. It's building our pipeline, essentially, and just talking to people constantly, like realistically.
Yeah. So like what you need to realize is that the name of the game is how many friends can I make in the market? And the ultimate goal is to have the largest database in town. I could give a flip about deals, right? Just forget about deals for a moment and just think about your database is your business. The larger it is, the more deals you're going to do, right? And can I put a plan in place where I can add 5 new people a day to this? Whereas in 5 years, I got 6,000 property owners I've talked to, not Facebook leads that gave us fictitious emails and contact information, or buyers who we never even talked to, Zillow leads. I'm talking about people you talked to that gave you their information and said, I'd love to stay in touch with you. Now they see your face every week on an email and they love everything you do. That's real stuff, right? And now you got the #1 business in the area because you put them blood, sweat, and tears in. This is a sweat equity business. You can spend all the money you want to try to buy equity into this business, but it's not going to work. I've known a lot of people that come in and just spend so much on advertising and stuff, and they're out of business within a year or two. I've seen it time and time and time again. It's wild, because they're trying to avoid the sweat equity part of the actual talking to people to build that database up to the point that you need. It's not necessarily the numbers either. It's the quality. You talk to these people and they loved that you made them feel comfortable, right? That's the thing. They made you feel comfortable. You made them feel comfortable with you. And that's the #1 thing, guys. When you're talking to prospects, the #1 thing over listing appointments and doing deals and showings and handling objections, the #1 thing is making them feel comfortable with you. Because if you can't accomplish that right there, then there's not going to be any showings, appointments, deals, nothing. Because they don't feel comfortable. They're just going to get out there and go do a deal with somebody that does make them feel comfortable. And a lot of you are thinking it's your script or it's them. Maybe it's the prospect. Maybe they're mean or something. No, it's because you didn't do a good job communicating to them who you are, that you care about people. You're using, the traditional scripts, and, you're listening to, the gurus on closing deals and stuff like that. And it's making people feel real uneasy, because you're not even listening to them, what they want to do, right? Just slow it down and focus on database growth and making people feel good about who you are, and good things will happen to you.
Anybody have any other questions for the great Ricky Carruth?
Yeah, Kevin, I'll step in for a second real quick with a question for Ricky. So love the just listed, just sold, and the pending 3 postcard deal for the subdivisions. If you can hit us, Ricky, with maybe just that opening line from what you would consider your script for calling somebody in that subdivision and let them know that you just listed a property, or that it went pending, or that it just sold. What's a nice warm way to get that done?
You guys should all go to ZeroToDiamond.com and download all my scripts. It's in the second lesson of the 60-day challenge, which is all completely free. That's also a social media platform with over 8,000 real estate agents there. Create a profile and start collabing with people and grab those scripts. But if you go to the circle prospecting script on there, that's really where you're going to be on that. And it goes a little like this: ring, ring, hello. Hey, Mr. Johnson. Hey, Mr. Johnson, Ricky Carruth, local real estate agent. How you doing today? Cool. Me too. I'm enjoying the day. Isn't it gorgeous? Cool. Well, listen, man, I didn't want to take up too much of your time, but I sent you guys a postcard on a new listing I have right there in your neighborhood. Did you get that? Okay, cool. Yeah. Just want to let you know you got that. See if there's anything in the world I can do for you. That's it, guys. And when they say, hey, no, we're good, right? No, we're good. That's what you're looking for, right? You're looking for the no, we're good. Nah, we're good. No, you can't help us. Cool. Is there an agent you would work with if you were to do something? No, cool, great. Well, listen, I'm sure you'll do something in the future, right? 5-10 years down the road. Listen, I'd love the opportunity at that time to work with you. Would it be all right if I just stayed in touch? Cool, great. What's a good email for you? Is this your cell number? Okay, great, Mr. Johnson. Again, my name is Ricky Carruth, local real estate agent here in the area. I'm going to stay in touch with you via email. You let me know if there's anything in the world I can ever do for you, man, even if it's, I don't know, coming over and moving a piece of furniture. We'll talk to you soon.
Love it. Thank you so much.
There's also videos on the website right there, me making live calls, live prospects. If you guys haven't seen those, there's a lot of stuff there. You guys should go do the 60-day challenge. Actually, it takes you through your goals and your why, and it's a boot camp. It'll do it for you, but it's geared for everyone: part-time agents, new agents, experienced agents. It's kind of a one size fits all. And definitely reach out to me on Instagram. I answer every single DM every day. If you guys have questions or just want to say hi, if there's something I could do for you, I'm just overly happy to share and help or tell you guys anything I know.
You have anybody else? Just so respectful of Ricky's time. All right. Well, before I let you go, I have one favor to ask. Please go to zerotodiamond.com. Check out his 60-day boot camp for sure. We also have a 30 under 30 candidate in the running for NAR. The last time a Miami Realtor has won this award was way back in 2016. So what I'm doing right now is I'm posting a link, and I'm going to share my screen for just 2 seconds. And I just want you to look at what it'll look like. So above here of Marcelo's head, there'll be a thumbs up. And all I want you to do is hit that thumbs up, help our guy, Marcelo Steinmander, out. He's on the YPN leadership board. And so if you would help him, I would greatly appreciate it. It has been a long time since we've actually had somebody win this award. And I think Marcelo is very deserving. So click the link. And if there is nothing else, Ricky, thank you so much for your time. Don't forget to go ahead.
I'm the link for Rick's website. I'm not seeing it. The one that I'm finding on Zero to Diamond doesn't really give any options to click on anything. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sign up, log in. Okay. Signing up right now.
Beautiful. Yes, Ricky is definitely an exceptional resource. He provides material that can be used in any market, which is super important. And if there's no other questions, we wish everybody the best of luck. The busy season is coming. And we hope you're ready. And with the trainings that we provide, the trainings that Ricky will provide, so that he will find a lot of success in this market. So with that, if there's nothing else, thank you so much for attending today. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Give up on my way home.